Hello, I'm Chloe Smith, and here is my portfolio project reflection. So the first workplace capability I really want to talk about is information literacy. Since the project on the rubric had to be more than 5 sources, it was important to establish information literacy, especially for researching skills. In particular, I had to identify, locate, and applicate the research information to create it in my own words and utilize it in my portfolio project. So therefore, it's enhanced through articulation and connection. Articulation because I had to use my own words and sentences and create into a beneficial prompt that discussed my thesis. And with connection, I also had to discuss my thesis, but it more relates to the modern society and influence in our world aspect. So therefore, based on this project, I definitely learned more about information literacy, especially in the workplace and as my future career as a registered nurse, because finding information is important, especially for any research projects or presentations that I will do in the future. Another workplace capability I utilized was communication. So with communication, it's definitely an important skill to have throughout my education and in the workplace. In regards to my project, the audience needs to understand the variety of components with communication that were introduced. So with my thesis, and so this all relates towards communication because with my thesis, this develops a better understanding and an easier flow of what's going to be communicated throughout my project. And therefore, it's also organized through organization just because I utilize the introduction, conclusion, thesis, body paragraphs, and introduced everything in my thesis in my paper. And so in the future, as a future nurse, I will definitely utilize this capability in a more communicative aspect, especially with patient-provider interaction, not being afraid to ask questions and advocating for my patients. The next workplace capability is productivity. And so in regards to my project, this was definitely enhanced by time management, annotated bibliographies, and our organizational skills. And so it's very important to establish connections, especially for the audience to have a better understanding. With annotated bibliographies, this just helped create a better understanding with the articles, especially because these articles, much like the Bryan and Stratton Library, are all like scholar articles or journal articles or from books, and so it's important to understand what the article is for more and better productivity in my research paper. And so for my future career, it's especially important to utilize this capability for completing tasks and goals and doing it with your best effort. And so I also put down, if any questions arise, I will also ask to enhance my productivity in the workplace. With dependability, this was enhanced through time management, especially by utilizing my agenda and reviewing the rubrics before the due date. And so since my research paper contained lots of information, it was especially important to establish a goal for completion. The research paper consisted of over 2,000 words, and so it was important to utilize time management for dependability on completing my task on time. Not only is it dependability for my instructor, it's also dependability and me holding accountable for completing my assignments on time. Therefore, in the workplace, this capability is important to illustrate for completing tasks, administering medications on time, and showing up to work on time. Not only are you taking accountable for yourself, this also shows the employer that individuals are ready to learn and want to improve their career. In regards to my thinking abilities and strengths, I definitely utilized a variety of strategies for my portfolio project. In particular, with my research skills, this was strengthened because I had the ability to understand reliable and non-reliable sources for ancient Egyptian cultures. Since we talked about researching skills, I was able to identify, locate, and applicate the sources to create a more beneficial and more advanced paper that I wanted to communicate with my thesis. With time management skills, this was strengthened because I was using an agenda and read the rubric prior to any Blackboard submission. With the rubric, this just helped understand the parts and the information that needed to be on the paper. And with my agenda, since I take various classes, this is important, so I completed the due date and completion on time. Lastly, with critical thinking skills, this was strengthened because I had to create connections, especially from earlier civilizations to modern society today. With the institutional outcomes, I believe they're all met while I finished and completed the portfolio project. With information literacy, I have the ability to locate reliable sources, which enhance my questions and inform the audience through an organized paper that introduced the thesis, introduction, body conclusion, and APA references. With relational learning, this helped me transfer my knowledge from my sources to my research paper and had the ability to make connections to modern society from earlier civilizations. With thinking abilities, since I also talked about the strengths in our prior slide, this was also completed because I utilized the effective strategies such as time management, research, and thinking skills for completion, communication, and delivery. With the quantitative and scientific reasoning, I was able to recognize the reliable sources and applicate it and establish conclusions to make connections. With my community and career, overall, I have a better understanding of earlier civilizations in reference to my personal growth. With my community and career, just because I learned about the earlier civilizations and ancient Egyptian culture, I have a more understanding and develop a better understanding for cultures, especially for earlier civilizations and making that connection. So, thank you for listening to my reflection. Hope you have a great day. Bye.